Are you coming over, Violet? Hello. Of course you are. Hey, everybody. Give you a couple of seconds to get the ping here. I didn't announce myself because this is just the time that I had. So I was taking a look at this new moon today in Scorpio. Oh my gosh. Have you seen this? How much is going on here? How much is involved? I have to apologize for my lighting. I didn't contract like a disease of grayishness since the last time you saw me. It's just I've got this horrible ring light I've never used before, and it looks like I'm probably never going to use it again. But oh my gosh, this new moon in Scorpio today. I was looking at the chart here. Normally, I don't sit and look at a chart while I'm doing a video because I just have it in my head, but there's so much going on today. I had to take another gander at the map. That is one hell of a kite that we've got going on. So just the sun and the moon together in Scorpio can be energetic in terms of new beginnings. Hey, everybody. Hey, Alexis. Just the sun and the moon in Scorpio is something to talk about. But they exactly oppose Uranus, which is at the very last degree, the anaretic degree of Taurus. So it's like that's the last opportunity to get that lesson. And that's reformation in terms of values. And breakthroughs, rebellion in terms of monetary systems. This is also showing the very last months, weeks of the abundance, the unprecedented, some would say, unpredictable abundance that we've seen over the course of the last 7 years with Uranus going through Taurus. Houses of cards tend to come down when we have things at the anaretic degree. So we have a few bubbles that are popping in order to make room for other things. Alice, you may be onto something there. Because these are breakthroughs, and it's breakthroughs that can come rather easily and take hold because we have everything involved in trines and sextiles. That means we have flow, 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 flow. It doesn't indicate any resistance here. And at the same time, we have the inferior conjunction of Mercury and the Sun today, and the exact sextile. I wrote it down because there's so many, Uranus and Neptune, which isn't the only time that they're going to be in a sextile, Uranus and Neptune. What do we get, 5 in total? And these are long-term social aspects that can show the reformation and redistribution of wealth, goods, services, opportunities that can come without so much of a fight or conflict, because we've done a lot of that. We've done a lot of the conflict. We've done a lot of the breakdown since the square between Uranus and Pluto 10 years ago. So now we're coming to the trine between Uranus and Pluto. And then we also have Uranus making various other good aspects to other planets. So we have some of the breakthroughs that the conflict and the push towards something better, that's coming into payoff. Now, that does not mean that we are out of the woods in terms of major global changes. We have, till 2032 where until we still have to iron out a lot. And then it's really till 2062 until we have that total changeover from the old global system of trade. And we can still encounter significant global tensions as we do have those shifts in power and in values coming in. But this shows us that alongside destruction and a meltdown, there is also things that are reforming and that are starting to solidify as the cornerstones and the new building blocks and the foundations of new systems that are coming in here. So yeah, sun and moon both in a trine to Saturn and to Neptune at the same time. You know what? That's a cure for nihilism. And also this beautiful trine to Jupiter. That's hope. There's breakthroughs here that are a cure for a lot of the negativity, the nihilism, the sense of going off a cliff, of having no hope. We're living into a brighter future with this new moon. We see that there are things to hope for because we're shedding, Scorpio, a lot of really bad things. This is the time of disclosure between now, oh, not even now, but I would say probably 2023 and 2032. A lot of disclosure in terms of systems, seats of power, aliens, energetics, what we have thought. Shh, girls, leave that cat alone. Leave her alone. What we have thought history was, our understanding of history. This history is written by the winners. And we come into different, more informed understandings about where we come from as nations, as physical humans, as a religion, as an ideology. We get down to the reason why and what happened and what was really afoot. And there's a lot of redefinitions and re-understandings about what we are based on a different view of where we came from. We have the very origin of something, like a cellular origin of something in Scorpio. So we plant seeds of radical revelations. And this is also a lunation cycle that has us dealing with our own emotional extremes. And looking at emotional dysregulation and emotional control. That's Scorpio stuff. Control with moon and sun there, and we have Uranus opposing, which can have us flying out of balance rather quickly. That opposition between moon and Scorpio Moon and Uranus, sorry, itself is really interesting in terms of the frequency of emotional dysregulation. Oh, sorry, I just had a little new button pop up I've never seen before. I know, I get like an old person look on my face when technology appears, like, huh? So there's this radical awakening regarding letting go of old patterns or systems of soothing ourselves and adopting better ways of dealing with how we can go off the rails, how we can be dysregulated, how we can lose our shit, how we can. I had a Greek student, and she had the phrase in Greece, she says, how we lose our justice. I think that's the best one. So it's very interesting how we have all of this ease in this kite formation of all these sextiles and all these trines, which implies flow. And what is that flow? An uncorking between Uranus and the sun and the moon. So personally, we'll get to the social aspect and do the math, but personally, we are uncorking some pockets of emotion that may have been so untapped, so unaccessed, because they've been in the basement. It's like it's a piece of self that's been in a wine barrel in the basement. Hey, Donnie. And what happens when you put Scorpio in a wine barrel? I've always said that resentment is anger that's been turned into a fine wine. We find resentment in Scorpio. And so that's what we're accessing, is that basement barrel. And this can be pockets of emotion, pockets of resentment, pockets of anger, whatever it is. See, it's in there for a reason. If it's in Scorpio, it's in the basement for a reason. It's been unaccessed for a reason. It's been under pressure too in that barrel. And so when Uranus comes to town, Uranus sticks a pin in it. It's always that disruption in a process that in some ways we're so mad sometimes, depending on how it disrupts, we're so mad that it's been disrupted. And other times we're so happy that there's been that disruption. But in any case, that disruption happens for a reason. It gives us a chance to try harder, walk away from it, reevaluate, and oftentimes to redirect and rebuild, have a chance to rebuild before we were too far along. And we were going to be too invested. So when we have these disruptions, we need to look at what is it that was in danger of solidifying. A lot of times what's disrupted is something that at the time we really, really do think that it's what we want. But Uranus is that unanswered prayer, or what we can't see coming out of left field, and it seems like it's just a catastrophe. But when you look back, you see that you were saved, and often from yourself and your own idea of what you thought you wanted at the time. So these things in our barrel, we release it. We release that pressure. What it was that needs to be disclosed. So it's going to feel really good to let that go. And it's going to be easy if you do it yourself, if you take it into your own hands. It's much more difficult when the external environment has to force something, or we get Uranus into a corner. Getting Saturn or Pluto into a corner is even worse. Because then things happen to us. And we have to respond to it. And that can take more out of us than if we just take responsibility for something that needs to be seen, done, changed, disrupted. And then even though it's hard, we do choose to do it ourselves. We at least have some kind of conscious control or direction about how those cards are going to fall. At least we've got that. And so we all have that opportunity to decide, okay, if some kind of house of cards has to fall, or if that barrel that I got been hiding down there in the basement, if that's going to have to be tapped, how's it going to be done on my terms and in my timing and under my control, so that I have a hand in my own undoing, because I see there's wisdom in it. Now, if we do choose to avoid it and we become exposed, because again, it will happen out there somehow, it's going to be a lot harder to get the memo, because we have to go through a process of blame and of why, and but I'm such a good person. Why did this happen to me? And we have to go through a lot of sifting through why is life and the world such a hard place before we get to the core of the lesson. So pop your own boil. That's what I would say. Pop your own boil. Don't wait for somebody else to come and accidentally step on it, because it makes it harder to clean up the mess. And then you have this opponent that you got to deal with too. It stepped on your boil. Everybody's got a boil somewhere. So it's going to be easier to digest too what does come out, because there's going to be like this audience of obviousness, what it is that comes out, what we think. We've been down there like secretly, guarding our resentment in our barrel. It's a secret. We may find out that when we let it out, when we tap it, that our audience is like, uh-huh. Is that it? Yeah, we already knew that. Because we have this flow. So we have this exposure and this surge of breakthrough and revelation, disclosure, and then where does it go? It disperses into ease, flow, acceptance. So look at it like a gong that is hit really hard, that here's the secret. But the absorption of all that energy, it's like it's in the perfect room to just absorb it all, as opposed to, say, a different transit. If we didn't have all of this flow, this ease connected for all of that conflict to go, that would be like a gong that you strike and you're like in a concrete room and there's nowhere for any of that noise or that vibration to go. It's just like that harsh, it has consequences. That's not what we get with this. So this is like revealing something or saying something, or, letting the cat out of the bag. We're like, oh God, it's going to be like the child whose mother already knows they're gay. And the kid's like, okay, this is going to be the night. I'm going to admit it. I'm coming clean. I can't live like this anymore. He's like, Mom, I'm gay. She's like, yes, dear. Yes, I know. And you're expecting some kind of breakdown or reaction or to be kicked out. And well, she knew before you knew. So that's the energy of the acceptance of it. We ourselves, the revelators, the people that are letting the cat out of the bag, we might actually be upset that it doesn't have more of an impact. Like, I've been done keeping this secret for decades. This is all you have to say? It's fine? I'm forgiven? You already knew, fill in the blank as to how the trine and the sextile is going to flow for you. But it isn't going to be something where we are branded with a scarlet letter. Now, socially, we have some different things going on because we do have some zingers that can come out. Now, because they are wrapped in trines and sextiles that are related to constructive social order or improving deteriorating institutions or systems of shared like distribution of wealth and services and goods. We do have things that can be a reason why, things that come out that are revealed, that are a reason why we do come up with better, I would say, foundational building blocks or rules or ideas, aspirations for how we do want to live, how we do, our idea of governance and institutions and how those function and what those serve and who they serve. So, yeah, it's interesting that our poison, personally and socially, our poison, what we let out of the bag, we can see that it's enfolded into overwhelmingly positive forward movement and good consequences. Yeah, it's an interesting new moon. It's like we cut the crap. That's what a lot of it is. With Mercury and the Sun being in the inferior conjunction as well. In those last degrees of Scorpio. And Mercury is hardly in Scorpio. He's mostly just in Sagittarius. So we get just this little taste of understanding with a bright light, because that's the Sun and Mercury together. It's like this point of illumination, understanding what is in those darkest recesses of Scorpio, our basement. So it's today specifically that it's like a sunbeam comes in through a blackened out pane on the basement window. There's like that little piece where the black paint has flaked off, and we have that sunbeam that shines through. And what we see can hold weight. That happens when we have the inferior conjunction and the superior conjunction. When we find out, the epiphanies we come to, the problems we solve, the thoughts we come to do, what we communicate, that all holds weight. And when we come to the superior conjunction of Mercury and the Sun, that's when we have like a floodlight regarding everything that we've processed and had another look at during this period. That's full problem solving, you could say, or coming to the end of a process of solving something. Okay. Oh, thank you, Donnie. Yes, I love my bear sweater. I have a few of these. It's chilly here already. So, 'Tis the season. Oh, I didn't want to. I will put the link. I forgot to. I was going to talk about this at the beginning of the video, but I forgot. I'll put the link at the bottom here. You guys can order my new calendar, which Violet was just laying and licking herself on. I'll put the link down. You can order it at my Etsy store. It's a 2026 transits calendar, and it has all of the new first quarter, full moon, last quarter moons, daily transits. The ones that I think myself, I went through myself every single day of the year and decided which are the most impactful, I'm going to say, important transits to consider on a particular day. So, planets changing signs, retrograde periods, everything that you need for a particular year. So I'll put the link in the description when I finish up the video, and I will remind you guys about this between now and January. And I'll probably update it every month. I'll do a new one every month, so you can even order it as a digital download, so you have one that can stay updated. Oh, thank you, Joelle. Let me know. I know it was working on Facebook, but maybe it's not working on Instagram. I'll take a look. I haven't been on Instagram in a few months, so I'll look over that. I usually just post over there from Facebook, so who knows what's happening. All right, guys, that's what I got for today. I will check in with you soon. Think about what it is that you want to reveal, because that's the key word, want to. If you wait for somebody or something else to do it for you, it's going to be a lot more painful. And we all have something rattling around in our basement. I don't care who you are. If you think you don't have something in your basement, then you probably have more in your basement than most people. Everybody's got something. And it takes a lot of energy to keep that cellar door closed. We always have to keep a foot on it. And when we go through these periods of shedding, letting go, admitting, confession. This is confession time, confession month. When we go through that, we're lighter. We don't have to keep as much pressure on that cellar door. We don't have to devote so much life force to hiding, because that does take a lot out of you. And you don't realize how much until you get honest, until you go through a plutonic clearing, until you go through a confession and healing, and you drop some of that dead weight. See, before that, we're used to it. We're used to living with it. We've been carrying it for so long that we don't know how much it's taking out of us to assert that much energy to keeping something under wraps. So when we let it go, and sometimes we let it go through confession, sometimes it's things that we can and sometimes should deal completely with on our own. Confession is implied and revelation is implied with this particular new moon. So for most of us, we're probably going to let some kind of cat out of the bag. And we can expect that it will be absorbed, processed, and dealt with. It's not going to come back to haunt us because it already was haunting us. All right, guys. It was good to see you. We'll see you soon.